Tonight, we are continuing to monitor the fires burning in parts of the state and the recovery efforts underway. Crews are still working to contain the 33 road fire burning near Meridian. Now, this fire first sparked last Friday. Fox 25's David Chazanoff joins us now live from Logan County Emergency Management Headquarters. David, any progress on getting that fire out? How are crews doing?
When the emergency crews tell me they're not close at all to getting this fire put out, it's actually 0% contained. And this morning, or this afternoon rather, we saw the fire way too close for comfort.
Clear the area. Everybody clear the area. Now.
Along East Forest Hills and South Indian Meridian Road, 8 different fire crews are working together. Some Super Scooper airplanes are being used to battle this wildfire, which Deputy Director Sean Pierce says has burned more than 40,000 acres so far. An evacuation order was actually just lifted for Indian Meridian to Pot County Road, and shelter was being offered at the Logan County Fairgrounds. Jeffrey Jennings, who I spoke with, traveled to Meridian from McLeod to see everything up close.
Seeing what they go through to try to cut these fires off, the terrains is almost impossible in some areas. And I feel sorry for some of the firefighters who are trying to stop the fires, and that's tough on them.
Officials here tell me they'll be working on containing this fire from Tuesday night or through Wednesday. It just depends on the weather. Reporting live in Logan County, David Chazanoff, Fox 25 News.
David, thank you. The Red Cross is helping those in Logan County who had to evacuate because of the fire. Fox 25's Tom Ferguson joins us live from the Logan County Fairgrounds. Tom, tell us how many people had to use that shelter today?
Wendy, a Red Cross official here tells me they had about 25 people stop by for drinks and snacks. And as David mentioned, now those evacuation orders have all been lifted here. Shelter operations are wrapping up. But today marks the 4th day in a row of wildfire response here in Oklahoma. Crews continued to respond to wildfires and hotspots here in Logan County on Monday after the outbreak of fires statewide on Friday. Here you can see active hotspots remaining in scorched patches of ground at one wildfire outbreak near East Seward Road and South Douglas Boulevard. At this scene near Seward and I-35, wildfires left some homes untouched while others devastated.
I was just praying. I really was just praying like the whole time. It was super scary.
Tucker Moore's backyard fell into the fire's path, but his family's home was thankfully spared. It was a different story for his next-door neighbor. He recalled a phone call telling him his family's home was at risk.
Well, I was on the bus when my mom called me, and she was telling us that the fire was like right across from the road to us, and we had to go to my grandma's house, and I was just seeing like on the TV there's a fire all around our house. I was just really scared because I was like, there's no way it's not going to burn.
It's kind of crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
The American Red Cross teamed up with Logan County Emergency Management to host the county evacuation shelter on Monday, amid ongoing fire danger in areas across Oklahoma.
It's been really busy. We have teams on 24-hour standby if we have to open up a shelter.
The Red Cross official says his organization expects the need for continued response into Wednesday morning based on current weather reports. Live in Guthrie, Tom Ferguson, Fox 25 News.
Tom, thank you. The 840 fire on the border of Roger Mills and Dewey County is still burning. According to Oklahoma Forestry Service's situation report, the fire is about 35% contained and has burned nearly 28,000 acres. Dewey County Emergency Management says there are no new fires in the area, and they're continuing to work with local departments to monitor the entire fire area. Now, at least 4 people have died because of the fires and high winds. And according to the State Department of Health, the injury count is now up to 200. The fires have also damaged at least 400 homes across the state. The fire threat is not gone yet. We could see additional fires pop up tomorrow. Let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Jack Gervin. So, Jack, tell us what factors are creating this increased risk.
Wendy, tomorrow we're going to see a little bit more wind than what we had today. Gusts today were about 30 to 40 miles an hour, obviously quite noticeable, and obviously does help fire spread easily, but thankfully it was not as strong as what we had on Friday. But I think we are going to be a little bit faster with our winds as we head into the day tomorrow. But you'll see we've had really all this type of equipment helping out, being staged across much of the state since since last week rather. And so we had earlier on today, you can see this video of the Super Scooper in action near Guthrie, tackling those fires. And we're still watching fires and hotspots on the IR satellite. Thankfully, though, we're noticing far fewer of them out there this evening, compared to Friday night. And that's again because the winds were not as strong today. But we're also noticing too some of those upper level cirrus clouds coming on in. That can sometimes make it a little hard to find some of the hot spots out there, but thankfully we are not looking at as many of them as what we had Friday night. But still, there are a number of them out there, especially on the eastern half of the state. And like I said, we think tomorrow we're going to be looking at a little bit more wind than what we had today. Right now the winds have thankfully also come down too, where most of our gusts are generally below 25 miles an hour. So it's actually much calmer out there, but the temperatures remain still pretty warm in the upper 60s and low 70s, and the dew points are in the 20s, which obviously with our temperatures coming down in the 60s and 70s, the relative humidity goes up at night. So that's again going to be a bit of a better trend for us here. But as we go into the day tomorrow, we're probably still looking at winds gusting out of the southwest 40 to maybe even 45 miles an hour. And then we'll be looking at strong winds coming in out of the northwest when a cold front comes through late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. And that potentially could bring our winds to be back up at around 45, maybe even 50 miles an hour out of the northwest. So that's why even into Wednesday, we are still looking at the chance for fire danger to be present. After that, though, we're then looking at winds throughout much of our Wednesday to kind of calm down, and then we're looking at better conditions. But we already have our red flag warnings out in place until tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And you'll notice it's, again, pretty much the same spots that we've been dealing with the past couple days since Friday with all these fire alerts. It's the same counties that we have for our red flag warning. But coming up, we're going to be talking about how the forecast for tomorrow might be a little bit different, again, in that form of the wind. And then we'll also be talking about the chance for maybe some storms in our forecast as we head into our Sunday. Wendy, back to you.
Well, the National Weather Service in Norman sharing what to do if a wildfire comes your way. They ask you to avoid any activities or equipment that could create a spark, avoid parking your car on dry grass, and properly throw away any cigarettes. If you see fire or any smoke, evacuate immediately and listen to all evacuation orders. As the fire dangers continue this week, there is currently no burn ban in effect for Oklahoma County. Commissioner Miles Davidson says right now we don't meet the official drought criteria for a countywide ban, which requires a period of severe, extreme, or exceptional drought. Dozens of families across Manford lost their homes in Friday's wildfires, and now they're tasked with rebuilding their lives from scratch. Manford was one of the hardest hit towns. A woman tells us she called police asking for help as she watched the wildfires inch closer to her home.
I got one photo album, a little small photo album, and the clothes that I have. That's it. I lost everything. My grandkids lost all their videos. They lost their pictures. They lost books that I've read to them since they were just a baby. We lost it all.
A woman isn't sure if her cats made it out safely. A state of emergency is still in effect in Manford. The Stillwater community working to recover days after devastating wildfires hit that area. According to the city, at least 74 homes and structures were lost. 11 others were heavily damaged. Fox 25's Grant Palmer shows us the support being offered to the families who were impacted.
Pray for the people in the community that have been affected.
Support is currently on the ground in Stillwater after portions of the community were torched by wildfires this past Friday. On Monday, we spotted Patrick and other American Red Cross crew members in the southwestern part of the city offering assistance to those impacted.
And we've been driving several of the communities out in this part of Stillwater, checking on houses, taking out meals, giving out information about the American Red Cross and who they need to call or services that we may provide.
Loney says the portion of the city he's been serving has been hit particularly hard, seeing several homes damaged.
Oh gosh, I'm guessing probably well over 50 homes in the 3 communities we've been in today and this afternoon.
Meanwhile, it's a similar story at Lake Carl Blackwell, where campgrounds are still charred by the fire and homes are destroyed.
74 RVs that were heavily damaged or total loss out there, but no one got injured. It was just property that got damaged.
Now I'm at what appears to have been a trailer park, as several homes that I have come across have been incinerated and reduced to rubble. But even as these wildfires happen on Friday, as you can still see, there is still some smoke burning in this area. Beckner says he's proud of the city's response to the devastation, but as the whole ordeal was a lot to process.
It was an overwhelming experience. Let's just be honest. It was for Stillwater, it was a very fast-moving fire that you couldn't do a lot about because the winds were running 70 miles an hour.
Reporting in Stillwater, Grant Palmer, Fox 25 News.
If you are in the process of rebuilding and repairing, the City of Stillwater is reminding you to take extra precautions. If you plan on working with a contractor, you should verify the contractor's local credentials and be cautious of those who demand large payments up front, and take your time to research before signing an agreement. The city also wants to remind residents to safely dispose any chemicals or glass at the proper locations. Fuel and other hazardous materials cannot be placed in a regular trash can. You're asked to use these dumpsters to dispose any trash, yard waste, or furniture. Now, the Oklahoma House and Senate have advanced a resolution honoring firefighters and first responders who fought and are currently fighting those wildfires across the state. This was authored by House Speaker Kyle Hilbert and Senate Pro Tem Lonnie Paxton, who says the Senate stands with this resolution, affirming our support for those firefighters who have shown incredible courage and resilience. For anyone affected by the recent severe storms and wildfire outbreak, the National Disaster Helpline is offering free crisis counseling. The Disaster Distress Helpline will provide immediate counseling to those in the Midwest and southern states. You can call the number on your screen and counselors will be available at all times. And that was your big story breakdown tonight. You can stay up to date on the status of the 33 Road fire and the recovery efforts in Stillwater on OKCFox.com. Plus, Fox 25 is teaming up with the Red Cross to help those impacted by the Oklahoma wildfires. To donate, you can scan the QR code on your screen. All of the money raised will stay right here in Oklahoma.